Hello everyone to Stumbling Towards the Eschaton. This is December 6th, the second Sunday of Advent. We are here joined with the lovely Pastor Mike and myself, Nick.
Lovely. You're lovely.
Lovely.
Sean Connery, lovely.
Lovely.
Sean Moneypenny. No, we're not doing Sean Connery. Welcome, but this is second Sunday Advent. Advent's here, man. Hopefully you've had some time to not be caught up in what's going on and had some time for rest. We got, for the second Sunday of Advent, a really bodacious text here. It's Luke, the 3rd chapter, from the beginning to verse 6. It's a good one. It's just, I'm going to read it. That's how good it is. I'm just going to straight up read it.
Oh, snap.
Straight up. So in the 15th year of the reign of Emperor Tiberius, when Pontius Pilate was governor of Judea, and Herod was ruler of Galilee, and his brother Philip ruler of the region Iturea, and Trachonitis, I believe, and Licinius ruler of Abilene, during the high priesthood of Annas and Caiaphas, the word of God came to John, son of Zechariah, in the wilderness. He went to all the region around Jordan, proclaiming a baptism of repentance for the forgiveness of sins. As it is written in the book of the words of the prophet Isaiah, the voice of one crying out in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make his path straight. Every valley shall be filled, and every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways made smooth, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. Doesn't matter how many times I read that or try to read that, I butcher the names of those crazy kings every time.
The good thing about reading without them having the text is you can just pronounce it however you want.
Steve, ruler of Steveland.
The reign of Emperor Tibia and Pontius Pilate.
Pilate. He's so aware of what's happening.
He's like, I can see everything.
So this is a fantastic text, because here you got this Gospel of Luke, and it's great because it sets it in this point in history, and it also gives an introduction to who some of the people that are the power players in the region. And it's fascinating because if you look at some of these dudes, ain't really good dudes. These are tough guys that are really they are less than nice rulers that will be friendly, and it's in this that God's people are dealing with. It's under these guys and their kind of jerk rules that the people are languishing, and they're in a tough spot. You think about some of those dictators in the past, tyrants, and you hear all those wild stories, be it in Europe, be it abroad, of, those horrible kings. Wasn't there in, Transylvania this, murder queen or something?
Oh, yep, yeah.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's weird.
She bathed in the blood of innocent children.
You hear about these things. And, be these horrible rulers. And these guys are not necessarily the best dudes that ever lived. And so it's to these people and these reign that this dude, John the Baptist, comes out and, he's doing the baptism. And he's got this job. He's preparing the way of the Lord. And, he's the voice crying out in the wilderness, make the path straight, make them smooth, make the way of the Lord coming in.
I think they're upset because they have such terrible to pronounce names. I think that's why. I think that just adds an extra,
level of frustration.
Yeah.
I'm the king. Everybody comes in. Nobody can pronounce my name. So
King Zechariah. And he's like, off with your head.
But Zechariah was one of the good dudes. That's John's papa. Call him Big Paul. Oh, sorry. But that's sorry about that. Unscripted, you never know, man. So that's, Zechariah is John's dad, and you have, Tiberius, Pontius Pilate, Herod, Philip. Those brothers were not good guys. And even when we hear about the priesthood of Annas and Caiaphas, they're not good guys. I don't know much about Trachonitis or Licinius, the rulers of Abilene. I don't know much about them, but you throw them in there, there's probably not a lot of good guys in that. And you think about their conditions, and man, here you have John. He was a wild man. That's one of the fun things. The text doesn't do this, but John was a wilderness kind of dude. He wore animal skins. He ate locusts and honey.
Hunnis.
It's like hummus, but made of nothing.
I was going to say it sounds like hummus.
He's like, yeah, so he's like your yoga instructor. He's eating hummus all the time. Do yoga instructors eat hummus? I apologize if I made a gross generalization about any yoga instructors. It's a good, healthy thing.
Yoga's a great thing. I try and get Pastor Mike to do it, but he says it ain't part of his deal, yo.
I think I've said that verbatim. It ain't part of my deal, yo. So, and then you get this message, this preparing, and it's awesome because this text is a perfect example of here you have people in need, and their need is they need hope. And John pronounces that the hope is there. And hope is this waiting for something. It's not actualized yet. That's why it's, make paths. It's not like, hey, here's the guy I brought. You know what I mean? He's reminding people to hold on hope. Be ready. It's coming. It's going to be here quick. Have the hope. And it's this great message for people in need of hope. And it meets us because, we often need more hope. Hope is a powerful thing, and it's one of those great Advent gifts. Because we can look and we can see not necessarily a way out or this, that, and the other. And even as we look through Jesus' ministry, there are a lot of hopeless folks that are like, I got nothing. You know what I mean? I'll punt, see what happens. And
is there hope for me?
There is always hope for you, Office Troll. That's Office Troll. He's been a new addition to our team.
He likes to do paperwork. He eats it sometimes, but a half-eaten letter is better than not a no letter, so...
Yes, that seems like a very meditative statement. Meditate on the truth that a half-eaten letter is better than no letter at all. Wow, man.
He has trouble with the fax machine.
Which is awesome, because there are people out there that are like, you still use the fax machine?
It's what he doesn't understand. They only taught him the new stuff, so he doesn't know how to use fax machines.
Office Troll does not use the duplicator.
He like,
you guys got a duplicator in your church? That is an old machine, brother. Let's not get into that. The duplicator. Oh, straight up.
Yeah, speaking of hope, though, we got a couple events that happened was the things that went on in Paris, France. And so
all right,
they need
let's
the
take
hope
it to the
down
world. Let's take it to the world. Let's do it. Yes.
Yeah.
Paris, France. Well, don't forget about Beirut. Wasn't there just something like in Africa as well? There was another attack.
Ebola.
No. Just even recently. There was another, 30-some people were killed by a terrorist attack. I think it was Boko Haram, because that's their stomping ground down there. Now, don't quote me on that. I don't got the paper in front of me. The paper?
Office Troll ate it, that's why.
Yeah, that's probably why. But, you know what I mean? There was a lot of these attacks, and there is this sense of, needing hope, and how some of these things can really do a number on taking hope. And hope can be hard. You know what I mean? You look at these Paris victims, and one of the nice things that you see is people latching on to hope. There is that continued sense of we need to hope that the good will keep happening. And hope can be hard. And maybe that's really one of the things to look at.
Because it's a lot easier to lose hope than to gain hope.
Yeah, and get cynical.
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever run into some of those cynical folks. You know what I mean? And it's hard because, really cynicism is just why hope? Why would I want to keep on hoping it never works out, yada, yada, yada. But there is a lot of power in hope. I don't know if you ever dealt with kids before, but kids got a lot of good hope. And a lot of some of the kids that you've seen, after Paris in many of the countries, and even in Beirut and these sorts of things, there's the hope that good will keep coming. And those attacks are hard. You know what I mean? They're not easy things to deal with. And maybe the great thing is not to deal with some of the nuts and bolts or strategies of those sorts of things, but how do you hold on hope even amidst them? And maybe that's the interesting thing, because we're talking about regifting hope. What are ways that we can regift hope? Because we got a world, we got a good text where we got our hombre John, man, who's doing something. What's he doing? He's pronouncing hope. We got people living with bad rule here. We got people living under the rules of fear and worry and cynicism, right? How do we maybe regift hope, man? I'm digging where you're at, Nick. How do we do that?
It's a lot to throw on to me. Office Troll, what do you think?
I don't know.
All right,
That was a nice punt, Nick. It's like, oh no. Yeah, dude, be thankful you're not in confirmation, 'cause sometimes I throw that on people. I don't know, I think that is where I like it. How do we re-gift hope?
Well, how do you think we should re-gift hope?
Well, so what do we do? Maybe the issue is re-gift hope is one, making sure we have hope. I mean, if we're gonna re-gift it, we gotta cling to the gift, right?
Yeah.
And so it comes, I think, from this mental standpoint of, I want to almost say gratitude. Because gratitude is even based on the fact that I have seen this take place, therefore I'll be thankful. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I've been in some tight spots due to my own poor decision making. And there has been moments where I've looked back and I'm like, you know what? Honestly, I don't think it's but by the grace of God that my own stupid self has gotten through that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There are moments. We don't need to get into them. My parents, friends, and colleagues probably wouldn't want me to go into some of those things. But I made some bad decisions, man. Everybody's done it. And there's those points where it was by the grace of God that I got through it. So it's a sense of gratitude for me. So it then creates in me this hope of, okay, I have hope that things will maybe not be perfect. Because perfection's a dangerous path, too.
Yeah.
Perfection also is a great way of disarming hope. Well, it has to be this way perfectly. That's a narrow shot, man. You know what I mean? It's like if we go to a joke down to like the one person that shops at Target on Black Friday for like gum. I mean, that's a very narrow shot to aim for a joke. If you're hoping a lot of people laugh at it, that's not what hope is.
It has to be a fart joke for everyone to laugh at it.
Oh,
they actually did a survey around the world.
Oh, here you're drop some science on us.
They did a survey around the world of like people in tribal countries to like the most sophisticated like first world countries.
Have I heard this before?
And they made fart jokes, and 90% of the world laughed at that, and they added one extra layer to the group, and they lost 40%. So farting is the universal way to make someone laugh.
That is, wow. So you're putting me that flatulence is the most universal form of humor.
Yes.
So my kids are comic geniuses.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Wow. So mothers, maybe this is a great message for mothers. Mothers who might be listening, be at peace. If you raise boys, is they are very normal when they giggle when one of them farts.
Even when they're not boys and they're 30-year-olds, still laugh at them because
Your
it's still
husband
pretty funny.
might encourage it, but they're encouraging universal humor. That's what's happening. Universal humor. That's what it should be referred to from now on. Excuse me, I need to go make some universal humor.
You don't want to be in the same room when Office Troll farts. That's not a good thing.
From now on, my euphemism is going to be, son, which one of you left out some universal humor? I was humorous, Dad. Guys, let's be humorous in the right spots. My wife's going to be so mad at that one. Please do not teach him to do that universal humor. But I mean, that hope that it comes from that, to try to bring this back on, because I will go tangential. You know what I mean? To have that gratitude, thus is hope in yourself, right? So how do you share it? And that's maybe with helping people see. You know what I mean? Maybe that's the vision, because sometimes I think we get clouded. I think our vision gets clouded by fear or worry. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get scared so I don't see right. And there's actually I think there's been biological studies that honestly, fear changes our vision. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Adrenaline changes our vision.
Yeah.
You know, you actually get tunnel vision. It changes it. You know what I mean? Distance blurs. So you know what I mean? On the literal and the metaphoric level, fear and these negative things change our vision. So if you can help people revision, see it differently, these sorts of things, and you can be like, yes, these things have taken place. You know what I mean? Not even say that they're wrong, but have you looked at it like this? Do you remember this? Do you see this and revision it? Yeah. I think there can lead to some of that hope.
It helps, like if someone's being depressed or like just anything like that, they have their mind just set on, life sucks, this is the worst, all of that's and you could be in a lot worse places than that, but people just have the struggle seeing the bright in some things.
Bingo, perfect example. How do you help somebody struggling with that revision? And sometimes it's even have the wherewithal in yourself to see those sorts of things. And seeing how other systems and other things are at work. Is I think one of the great ways of regifting hope. Because again, we can't change other people, but if we can hopefully help them see or think or hear differently, and maybe even some of John's message from Isaiah is point to the paths that are straight, the things that have changed, the things that have done that in the path, so they can see the path toward help is hope. The path that the Lord's taken here, you know what I mean? And that will bring hope. Because I think there's a lot of people there's a lot of vision problems. I don't know, man. Especially after Paris, after some of these things. Even the fact that, we don't think about Beirut as much as we think about Paris. I mean, they almost happen simultaneously.
Mm-hmm. With after the Paris events, with all the Syrian refugees that are going by, people are starting to decline them because they're afraid that they're going to be terrorists.
Their vision's clouded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And instead of saying yes or no, I think the question is can we do good in this in a safe way? And there's gotta be a path. I don't care what side you land on these sorts of things. There's gotta be a path to shelter the people in need. And again, I'm a Christian and I read enough in the New Testament of where there's a general sense of the Lord says you should help people, so you should. I mean, it's one of those things where people are like, well, why do you do things? Because Jesus said so. You know what I mean? Like, you clothe homeless people. Why? Because there's something in Matthew 25 where he's like, you should kind of do this.
Well, I'm bringing a little bit of my geekiness into here. I play a game called Mabinogi.
Geek it out!
One of my favorite things to do is to help the newbies out, getting through the hardest missions in the game. And I'll go and I'll buy them like pretty good armor because I am a millionaire. I don't have more than $1 million, but I keep around that. And so I'm able to buy them some pretty good armor to get them going. And it's one of those fun things because I'll help them out for maybe an hour or two, get them all that stuff, never see them again for like 7 months, and then I'll see them with all just see how they've gone, and it's pretty fun to see that.
And you want to talk even like a really good zone and sphere of the world to be a hopeful person as opposed to a troll. No offense to Office Troll. You know what I mean? But you want to talk about the internets, or is it the interwebs? Because we're on dial-up. I'm totally just being weird. We use AOL. Who can even...
What's AOL?
Can anybody even make the AOL sound anymore? I can't. Pretty good AOL sound. But you know what I mean? The general sense of the internet is like, if you poke your head up, there's always somebody with an axe. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And to actually... There, I think, is a subtle joy when somebody encounters actually a nice human being on the internet. Because one of the great cardinals of the internet is don't read the comments. I mean,
Well, one of the things too is with the nice people on the internet is you never even know if it's their true intentions or not because you don't actually see the person. So to be like, man, this video is really cool, and you're like, I don't know if you're being serious, and it's a terrible feeling.
But I mean, sometimes even in that game though, I mean, that's an honest to goodness nice thing. If you're ponying up, even if it's virtual cash, it's cash. Mm-hmm. So. You know what I mean? So there's even a sense it's not even just random compliment. There's an actual pseudo-physical good thing that's happening there.
Yeah.
And that hopefully casts hope and casts it forward. And that's even the great thing about the regift and the hope is that hopefully when you kindle hope and they get those lens, that lens can be passed to other people.
Yeah.
I mean, because there's a lot of need for hope in these bags, man. And because vision gets clouded, man. Fear is bad. There's got to be a way to be safe and to help. I mean, I don't think that's too much. I mean, again, we're a great country, right? Everybody says it. Everybody agrees. Then if we're great, let's use our greatness to help but be safe. Mm-hmm. I think we can do it.
I do too.
And you know what I mean? I think that's across a lot of lines, that sense of we can help and be good and be safe in the process. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that's a good rule of thumb with a lot of things. As we do a lot of things, even at Hest House. We help, but we're safe.
Yeah.
It's a very safe place. They do things wise. And I think that's a great thing. You know what I mean? And there's ways of doing it amidst inherent risk. But, I mean, maybe even in the little moments of our lives. Because, I mean, yeah. Got to be some more hope. I dig that you do that for hope. That's a hope-giving thing, man. Because there's a lot of people that are like, I won't go on the internet, man. Mm-hmm. It's a very hopeless kind of place.
It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's like with the Paris stuff going on and the people who are like criticizing it and all of that kind of stuff. It's kind of like you don't really understand the magnitude of a situation until it happens to yourself. Because I am at I was not not sentient when 9/11 happened. So it's kind of like here and I'm like, man, that really sucks. And then I see this thing happen to Paris, which isn't even our own country, and I can like feel for them. Like I was watching that on the news, and I was like tearing up. I'm like, that really sucks. And it's kind of you can't really have hope for them unless you understand what they're going through.
Bingo. And that's an empathy thing too, which is huge. You got to be able to empathize with people. Man, so you were how old were you at 9/11?
I was like I was a baby. Because that went in 2000. I was like 3. I was like 2 or 3.
Wow.
So.
Well, and the wild thing is that, you know what I mean? You get folks that still remember when JFK was assassinated, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's just wild jams. I mean, yeah, I remember 9/11 very distinctly, and I've known numerous folks that have lost people in it. And I mean, there's always these different levels of the wounding. And that's maybe even the great lesson, too, is first order everything else is how do you heal the wounded?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's plenty of time for other things, but, I mean, primary concern is how do you heal the wounded? And the wounded come in many and varied ways.
Yeah.
And you pray the Lord gives you the eyes to see those that are wounded and how they're wounded. Because, the wounded are also good hope givers because they've seen the bad and they've been healed and they know that hope comes to fruition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what, Paris was a rough one, man. But there's much good. And I mean, what is it as of today? I mean, but even the president of France, I mean, he's doubled down on safety and compassion because they're letting more refugees in.
Yeah.
I mean, even after their attack, they're letting more refugees in, which is a boss thing, dude. When they're president of a country that just had an attack, it's like, let's let more in. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're one of those dudes that, you know what I mean? You want to talk about a dude that just totally put fear in a figure 4 leg lock? I got respect for that, brother.
Yeah, it's really crazy when you see the people who, like, even if there's no light at the end of the tunnel, they keep on trekking,
I got to give mad props to the French president for that. You know what I mean? We could be afraid or we can be awesome. Let's be awesome.
Another a nerd reference is the old anime Berserk. There was, at the end of it, little spoiler alert, unless you want to watch like a 30-episode series, is he and his knight friends, they're walking, and plot happens, they get trapped in a dimension, and a bunch of monsters come out of nowhere, and it's all of you guys are gonna die, so just let all the monsters eat you, and the guy Guts, he's just like, heck no, and he goes and he just starts killing as many monsters as he can, as he's trying, it was crazy.
Yeah. So hope is a good thing. Hope has a lot of power, man. It is rock and roll.
Yeah. Star Wars Good Hope's pretty good. Or Good Hope. Star Wars The New Hope.
Holy cow, man. A New Hope, brother. Oh. Yowzers, brother. And you got the Obi.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's the best of the Kenobis. Whenever you need a Kenobi, you better have an Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Star Wars. Those Star Wars.
One of my favorite Star Wars characters is C-3PO, which is Master Luke.
Curse this metal body, I wasn't fast enough.
It's one of my favorite things. It's just, I like to walk around and just go, Master Luke. Or I'll go to my brother, I'll be like, Master Hank. And then he'll be like, go away. And I'm like,
dude, still my favorite is C-3PO and the Ewoks, man. They got a tight relationship.
They do. They're treating me like some sort of deity.
Turn to the Jedi. Favorite Star Wars character? You know what? Honestly, Yoda, dude. How can you not?
Yoda's pretty
The
good.
most formative spiritual people that I didn't physically meet, but that I just watched. 2 of them were Yoda and Mr. Rogers.
Mr. Rogers is amazing.
Did you know that Mr. Rogers was a Presbyterian minister?
I didn't know that.
Yes. He was a pastor, ordained minister, and he viewed that as ministry. That was an awesome dude. The dude was like a compassion, just bazooka. if you ever want to watch a cool video, him going to, I think it's Congress or some subcommittee to get funding for PBS, like it's like this totally awesome video. I mean, Mr. Rogers got hope. Like he goes into this subcommittee or something, and it's recorded, and you have all these like congressional guys, and they're all got like this. You can feel the cynicism even in the video coming off them. Like here's this like dude that likes to wear sweaters and talk to kids on TV. They're gonna tell us we need to fund him more. So they're being like all types cynical, and like they're throwing it at him. And like he just goes full Rogers. It's like if Mr. Rogers like had a number and it went to 11, like he turned it to 11, and like he just and you can just see him pushing compassion.
Penny loafers intensifying.
Exactly. You know what I mean? He turns to 11. He's compassionate back, and he just like overwhelms these congressional people with the level of things. And at the end, he's like, Mr. Rogers, you got your funding. And like it was just like that moment of awesomeness where here's Mr. Rogers, where here all this hate and all this like bureaucracy and he's just like, I'm gonna bring the compassion, dude. And you got no guns, so don't throw them up, son.
I don't know if you knew, but Mr. Rogers actually has full sleeve tattoos, like straight up his arms and everything. Because when he was in Vietnam, so he had all of these tattoos. That's why he always wears the long sleeves.
That's an urban legend.
And there's pictures.
Snopes it. We gotta Snopes it.
All right. Office Troll, you gotta look it up.
All right, next week we'll come back with the Snopes answer that. But we're at about our good time. Well, brothers and sisters, I guess the thing to leave it is hope. Remember what has happened, and see that hope has that grounding, and like John was, maybe be a hope bearer to the world this week for the second Sunday of Advent. That's what I got. Any other final thoughts, Nick?
Nope.
Brother, I like where your head's at. I like the cut of your jib.
Not this again.
What, my nautical references? You don't like those?
I'm not saying that I don't like them.
All right.
All right. Keep on stumbling, viewers, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.